Johannesburg's Melville suburb has made it into the world's top 40 coolest neighbourhoods. The list consists of places like downtown Los Angeles, Melbourne's Yarraville, and that's in Australia, and Berlin's Wedding in Germany. Coming in fact, at number 33, that's Melville's roadside cafes and its hive of activities have captured the world's imagination. Let's talk more about this then with freelance journalist Iga Motylska, who was involved in the compilation of this list. Iga, very good evening to you. Good to see you. So what was it about our beloved Melville that won your hearts?
I think, so first of all, I just want to say I'm a freelance journalist. I'm based in Johannesburg, but Time Out reached out to me based on my local expertise. And I think it's the fact that Melville has that village sense. Everyone knows everyone. And so many of the stores have been there for decades. In fact, I spoke to Fred Moss. He's from the Sculler Barber, and he's been there since 1969. So he's been cutting hair for a family over 4 generations. And so I think the fact that it's got that staying power, the fact that you can go get a tattoo, get your hair cut, go get some sundowners with a friend, maybe, rummage through a thrift store, or maybe visit the vegan market, which happens every second Saturday. I think it's that sense of community, the coming together, the fact that it really just epitomizes Joburg and how lively it can be.
And what have you found is the reason why the people of Melville have been able to preserve that sense over the decades, especially in an ever-changing city such as Johannesburg?
I think the fact that it's small, it's cozy, as I mentioned earlier, that everyone knows everyone. So I think there's that sense of community, that this is my brother, my sister, my friend, my neighbor, that I have to help them out. It's that sense of staying power, of helping each other, see each other through the lockdown. And what was really lovely is that there was such a great lockdown relief effort. I think some people might have heard about it. It was called the Viva Melville Food Project. And they handed out over 5,400 food parcels. They fed over 30,000 people over those 4 months of hard lockdown. And it was wonderful. It was led by Tanya and Sean Gardner, and it was obviously supported by various volunteers within the neighborhood. So surely a sign of people coming together. And it garnered so much support that they actually had to move the project from the Gardner's home, which was in 3rd Avenue, to the Heritage Baptist Church. And that was, of course, to accommodate the recipients, and, of course, while adhering to all social distancing measures. But it was just so heartwarming to see people coming together, that sense of community, that we have to help see each other through these tough times.
More broadly, then, this Time Out Coolest Neighbourhoods Index, how does that work? How's it put together, and by who?
Yes, so essentially it's an annual index that's put together by Time Out. They're in London, and they undertook a survey of 38,000 people around the world. And then they obviously asked them questions like, what's the best area in your city for eating out, for going and having a drink? Where do you go to have fun? What do you most love about neighborhoods in your city? Which ones are the most underrated ones and overrated ones? And then they compiled all of that data from the 38,000 individuals. They reached out to Time Out editors around the world, and obviously to local contributors on the ground, such as myself, and just factored in great vibe, a good place to eat, to drink, nightlife, good community, an independent business culture, and obviously that community spirit all coming together. And that's what made the list of the 40 coolest neighbourhoods in the world for 2020.
You touched on this earlier, just how Melville was not spared the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, that relief drive to try and save businesses in the community. Do you think the appearance then on this Time Out list at number 33 will bolster the economic gains for Melville, at least in the long term?
I sincerely hope so. We go visit quite often. I go and I do some salsa dancing at 6 Cocktail Bar, which is obviously on the main drag. And I went and I spoke to them earlier today, and they said obviously that once level 1 of lockdown reopens, that we'll start dancing again. But I went and I spoke to a number of different shop owners and entrepreneurs in the area, and they're saying it's so great to see locals, those regulars, those families who've been coming to get their haircut for over 4 decades. It's so nice to see them coming out again in full force. But they did also mention what's really important is the tourists. Melville is certainly seen as a buzzing hive for tourists. Many of them rent out Airbnbs or bed and breakfast in the areas. They want to be centrally located in that area. They love the vibe and the spirit of it all. So many did mention that they're looking forward to seeing tourists come in. The tourists are very generous when they tip. They like to spend their money. They want to buy souvenirs and gifts for their family and friends back home. So that's certainly something that they're looking forward to seeing again shortly, hopefully.
Iga, speaking of things happening shortly, I hope to see you on a dance floor in Melville soon. That's Iga Motylska, a freelance journalist, speaking to us about that Time Out Cool Neighbourhoods Index.